Welcome to Thursday, February 25th, 2021. Thanks for watching and listening to the Day Weather Podcast. Well, we're going to head into the last days of February with some pretty chilly temperatures and conditions across the Rocky Mountain West and the Western High Plains. Turning colder, winds are going to be brisk again. It's just going to be, I think, best described as winter. Now, some of you last night got some snow across portions of far southeastern Wyoming, many areas of the Front Range of Colorado, a pretty decent little snow event. Now we're going to go into a northwest flow that'll be chilly and cold through today, through Thursday and into Friday. But we've got another system that's going to bring off and on mountain snow as we get into late Friday and Saturday. We're going to see a little bit of snow shower activity on the plains, mainly in that Friday, Saturday time frame, but it won't be the plains that get much snow, but the mountains will. Avalanche danger is high. We're going to spend some time on avalanche conditions and how the season has gone so far with avalanches. Next system that we need to watch is going to be coming into the region Tuesday night and Wednesday. The computer modeling is doing an extremely poor job with next week's weather, so we're going to watch Tuesday night and Wednesday. It may or may not turn into something that we're going to keep an eye on, though. First of all, let's talk about the avalanche conditions. We're already well ahead of last year in terms of the U.S. fatalities, up to 32 now. We just recently this weekend had another fatality in Grand Teton National Park. And if you look at where the fatalities are happening, they're happening right here in the Rocky Mountain West more than anywhere else. And with more snow coming this weekend, an unstable snowpack and a snowpack that has really deepened, avalanche dangers are sky high as we go into this weekend, folks. So be really careful. If you're a backcountry skier, snowboarder, or snowmobiler, you can see that the skiers have been caught the most, with snowmobilers second. It's just really, really easy in the situation that we're in. I think that one factor is that more people are heading into the backcountry this year because of some of the COVID restrictions in some of the ski areas. So a lot of folks are just heading to the backcountry, especially cross-country skiers. And be careful out there. We're looking at avalanches being a real big factor through the rest of this month and into the month of March. From the Bridger, Teton, Jackson Hole area Avalanche Center, you can see that considerable conditions. And I think this is where we got to watch it. That northwest corner of Wyoming and eastern Idaho, the Wyoming Salt River Ranges, the northern end of the Wind Rivers along and north of Togety Pass. And then around the Jackson area, we've got winter storm warnings for northwestern Wyoming for tonight through Saturday. So there's going to be more concerns there for avalanche danger being high. And in Colorado, conditions are moderate to considerable. Those areas that you're seeing there in yellow are all showing all across Colorado. Elevated avalanche dangers are likely going to go up with more mountain snow this weekend. If you were to go back to 1950, 50 years worth of avalanche data, you can see that Colorado by far has had the highest number of fatalities. You look at Alaska and Washington State, then you look at Utah, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho really coming in there. So if you were to add Colorado, Utah, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, we have a lot of avalanche fatalities. This is one thing I think that we don't think about much here in the Intermountain West, how often avalanches occur and how deadly they can be. So be careful. Snowfall through Sunday, you can see that the mountain ranges with forecasted snowfall are going to do really well. You can see all that pink there from the central and northern mountains of Colorado to the Bighorns to the northwestern areas of Wyoming. This area right here is the hotbed of avalanches right now, but Idaho and the higher mountains of the Pacific Northwest also going to be a concern heading into the next week or two. Now let's take a look at kind of what's going on right now with the pattern. We've got this nice big area of high pressure that's just off the west coast into the Gulf of Alaska. This little wave right here was last night's snowmaker for far southern Wyoming and the Colorado region. This system, though, is weakening and heading off to the east rather quickly. But you can see a strong northwest flow coming in, and there's also a little dip right here, a little curvature in the jet stream, so there's an upper level low. And as this comes in, there'll be some snows up here in the mountains of British Columbia, Washington and Oregon into the panhandle of Idaho. It's this system right here that takes a dip south, there it is, by Saturday morning, carving out a broader trough of low pressure, allowing more of that cold air in. So it's going to be chilly, not Arctic cold, but chilly for the rest of the week and the weekend. And as the system approaches, we do expect that the wind will be picking up later today, tonight, and Thursday into Friday across the wind-prone areas of Wyoming, I-25 and I-80. Not as bad as what we had earlier in the week, but the winds are going to pick up. This is the next system. So this is what's coming through this weekend that will produce snow in the mountains and snow showers on the plains. Then Tuesday night into Wednesday, we're seeing some type of low pressure system in the Four Corners region. Now, question mark on whether or not this will just be a minor wave or maybe turn into a bit of a stronger system as it gets over the divide by Wednesday morning. So what we're going to do is we're just going to keep an eye on this. Really too early to tell whether or not it's going to be a big weather maker or not. But it's something, if you're going to say what's our next storm, what's that next storm we need to keep an eye on, it'll be Tuesday night and Wednesday. It does look like after a blustery cold weekend, we'll have 2 days of warmer temperatures Monday through midday Tuesday before that storm arrives towards the middle of next week. If you take a look at February so far, if you look at the last 3 weeks, temperatures relative to average, blue, green, and purple, and then that whitish purple show where the extreme cold has been for the month of February. These are the temperature anomalies at the surface for the last 3 weeks. And you can see just how extensive this is, from Alaska into the Pacific Northwest, and of course all the way into the Gulf Coast and into the Great Lakes area. This north-south extent of this Arctic chill is going to really skew our winter temperature anomaly. Most of the winter, if you add it up, has been above average temperature-wise, but February is certainly going to stand out as the month I think that everyone is going to remember. If anybody has any questions, sometimes we get questions on our YouTube channel. Sometimes other questions will pop up. So we created a podcast email. If you have a question that you want answered during the podcast, maybe you're curious about a certain weather phenomenon, feel free to drop us an email at podcast@dayweather.com. And throughout the course of the weeks ahead, if you have a question, we'll try to answer them as they come on in. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Stay warm. We'll see you on Friday.